that one, not only does the road to the White House run through Pennsylvania, but we will make it clear when Philadelphia, Bucks, Chester, Delaware, and Monco speak, and we speak together. Y'all don't even know how nervous we make them when they see us together, because they peddle in division. They peddle in trying to weaponize government against people who may agree to disagree with them. The very concept of democracy, the promise of our land, of giving people access to the opportunity. Listen, I want you to remember this word, and don't you ever forget it. It is as American as apple pie, and that word is earned. Our vice president has said, when we make her the 47th president of the United States of America, we will have an opportunity economy where all Americans will be put on a path to self-sufficiency. Do you understand how powerful earning is? Giving people access to the opportunity to earn a living wage, to pay for health care and retirement security, to own a home. Those are bread and butter and kitchen table issues that we should never forget. As I close, and they're watching and they're taping, and you better remember this, because I'm coming to get each and every one of you if you don't. We're going to close it out. I want you, one, to put one finger in the air, and I can see you up there, even with the light. I'm trying to unify our city, our region, so we can be one Philly, a united city. And I want to hear everybody who is here. I want to hear you all say, one Philly, a united city. You did that well. Here's the big test. Before we go, this is it. Jesus, let him help us. Kamala Harris. Kamala Harris. Let's go win this, y'all. Y'all, I thought we were going to have a little break, but they just gave me the signal. I thought it was going to be a break, so now I'm giddy. I'm getting ready to come sit with you and scream as loud as I can. I want you to make some noise for the EGOT-winning, multi-platinum artist and activist, John Legend!
I was born by the river in a little tent. Oh, and just like the river, I've been running ever since. It's been a long, long time coming, but I know a change gon' come. Oh, yes it is. Change gon' come. It's been too hard living, but I'm afraid to die. 'Cause I don't know what's out there beyond the sky. It's been a long but I know a change gon' come. Oh, yes it will. Change gon' come. Now I go to the movie and I go downtown, Lord, and somebody keep telling me, no, don't hang around. It's been a long time coming, but I know a change gonna come. Oh, yes it will. Change gonna come. Oh, Philadelphia. Then I go to my brother and I say, brother, won't you help me, please? But then he winds up knocking me. Oh, he's knocking me back down on my knees. Oh, there have been times when I thought I couldn't last so long. But now I think I know I'm gonna be able to carry on. It's been a long time coming, but I know a change gonna come. Oh, yes it is. Oh, it's been a long time coming, but I know a change gonna come. Oh, yes it will. Yeah. I want to play some Philadelphia soul. Wake up, everybody, no more sleeping in bed. No more backward thinking, time for thinking ahead. The world has changed so very much from what it used to be. There is so much hatred, war and poverty. Oh yeah, wake up all the teachers, time to teach a new way. Maybe then they'll listen to what you have to say, 'cause they're the ones who are coming up. The world is in their hands. When you teach the children, teach them the very best you can. Hey, the world won't get no better if we just let it be. Oh, the world won't get no better. We gotta change it, yeah, just you and me. Wake up all the doctors, make the old people well. They're the ones who suffer and who catch all the hate. They don't have so very long before that judgment day. So won't you make them happy before they pass away? Oh, and wake up all the builders, time to build a new land. I know we can do it if we all lend a hand. The only thing we've got to do is put it in our minds. Surely things will work out, 'cause they do every time. Hey, the world won't get no better if we just let it be. Oh, the world won't get no better. We gotta change it, yeah, just you and me. Oh, yeah, yeah, yeah. I need a little help. I can't do it alone. I need a little help, y'all. Can't do it alone. Oh, wake up, everybody. No more sleeping in bed. Wake up, everybody. Yeah. I need a little help. Can't do it alone. I need a little help. Come on, come on. Yeah. Wake up, everybody. No more sleeping in bed. Wake up, everybody. Yeah. I need a little help. Keep going along. I need a little help. Come on, come on. Hey. Wake up, everybody. No more sleeping in bed. Wake up, everybody. Oh, I need a little help. Keep going along. I need a little help, y'all. Come on, come on. Hey. Philadelphia. The very first time I played in this building was when I was touring with Alicia Keys back in 2005. Touring with my very first album, Get Lifted. Who's been with me since Get Lifted? This was the big song from this album. Made a big difference in my life. And people don't really know that I wrote this song about my parents. They went through ups and downs as a couple. They got married and divorced twice. But my parents also gave me a great solid foundation. And I'm grateful for all the ordinary people in my life who made a difference. Girl, I'm in love with you, but this ain't the honeymoon. We're past the infatuation phase. Right in the thick of love. At times we get sick of love. It seems like we argue every day. But no, I misbehave, and you've made your mistakes, and we both still got room left to grow. And though love sometimes hurts, I still put you first, and we'll make this thing work. But I think we should take it slow. We're just ordinary people. We don't know which way to go. 'Cause we're ordinary people. Maybe we should take it slow. Sing it with me, Philadelphia. This time we'll take it slow. Come on, take it. This time we'll take it slow. This ain't a movie, no fairy tale conclusion, y'all. It gets more confusing every day. Oh, sometimes it's heaven sent, then we head back to hell again. We kiss, then we make them on the way. I ain't you call, we rise and we fall, and we feel like just walk away. But as our love advances, we take second chances. Though it's not a fantasy, I still want you to stay with this ordinary ordinary people. We don't know which way to go, 'cause we're ordinary people. Maybe we should take it slow. Oh, we're just ordinary people. We don't know which way to go, 'cause we're ordinary people. Maybe we should take it slow. Take it slow. Oh, oh, this time we'll take it slow. Take it slow. Oh, this time we'll take it slow. Take it slow. Slow. This time we'll take it slow. Take it slow. Baby, we'll take it slow. This time we'll take we'll take we'll take it slow. How we doing tonight, Philadelphia? You doing all right? We've got a nice lineup for y'all. I'm just the warm-up, okay? Now, it's so good to be back in the city of brotherly love and sisterly affection. I don't know if y'all know this, but I love Philadelphia, all right? I spent some of the best years of my life here in Philadelphia. I went to college here. I wrote a lot of songs, made a lot of music here, and there's no place I'd rather be tonight at this crucial moment in our nation's history than in the city that gave us our founding documents. The city that gave us the blueprint for the great democracy that we've become. And I'm so proud and grateful to have been invited here by the next President of the United States of America, Kamala Harris. Yeah. Doesn't that sound good? Next President of the United States, Kamala Harris. Well, we have just 8 days to make that happen, and we've got a lot of work to do. But like she says, hard work is good work. We face a once-in-a-lifetime, once-in-a-generation opportunity right now, a chance to choose something better, bolder, brighter, to choose progress and healing and joy. Lord, are you ready to feel some joy tonight, Philadelphia? Too many of our brothers and sisters are still struggling. We're hungry for a new generation of leadership, a leader who is focused on solving the problems we face right now. not focused on the gripes and the divisions and the petty grievances of the past. Well, Philadelphia, I want you to know this. Kamala Harris sees you. She hears you. She's been all over town listening to you. And she's ready to fight for you just like she always has. She knows that there's something else fundamental at stake in this election. Freedom is at stake in this election. The fundamental rights and freedoms that our ancestors marched for and organized for and voted to secure. Kamala Harris knows these rights are fragile. And she's committed to protecting them. She's committed to fighting for our freedom. Kamala Harris wants every child to have the freedom to fulfill their God-given potential. She's fighting to help new parents afford the essentials in their lives. She's fighting for your freedom to afford your rent, to buy your first home, to build generational wealth for your family, your freedom to love who you love. And this issue's close to my heart and to my family's heart. She's fighting for women's freedom to make their own health care decisions without the government getting involved. And she wants to make sure we secure the freedom that unlocks all these other freedoms. The freedom to vote. Kamala Harris is fighting for these freedoms for every American, whether they vote for her or not. She'll be a president for every American. And the contrast could not be clearer. Donald Trump had 4 years. We saw what he did with those 4 years. That's right. He talked big about the working class, but who did he really serve? Wall Street, billionaires, big corporations, whichever dictator wrote him a nice note or gave him a hug. And while Americans were asking for help, he handed out tax cuts to the wealthy, fought to strip families of affordable health care, and cheered on the bans that ripped away women's reproductive freedom. He failed miserably when America faced the biggest pandemic in a century. He was unprepared, incompetent, and woefully unserious. When neo-Nazis marched in the streets of Charlottesville, Virginia, he tried to look at the bright side and make excuses for them. And when America decisively, 7 million votes decisively, fired Donald Trump from his job, he encouraged a mob of his minions who threatened the life of his own vice president and imperiled the peaceful transfer of power for the first time in our nation's history. And even now, as Americans are calling out for leaders who are focused on their problems, he's more focused on crowd sizes. That's his vision of how he uses his power, keeping himself and his rich friends rich, ignoring struggling families, and sowing division and fanning the flames of hate and violence in this country. Now, if you had the good sense to fire someone who was obviously so terrible at their job, so toxic, so destructive, Philadelphia, there's no way in hell you would rehire that person. it was 4 years ago. Some of our memories might get hazy sometimes. But ain't no way you rehire that person. Especially when the alternative is so obviously, so clearly a better option. It's so clear. Kamala Harris has a vision for all of us, a vision that includes everybody and fights for the freedoms we deserve and the future we can build together. Like Harold Melvin and the Blue Notes, Teddy Pendergrass, the great Philadelphia artist said, it's time to wake up. And Philadelphia, it's time to choose where we stand. You can stand with the few, the authors of Project 2025, who want to control our bodies and divide our communities and silence our history. Or you can stand with the many, the ordinary people coming together to reclaim freedom, dignity, and opportunity for everybody. You can stand with a leader like Kamala Harris, who knows what it's like to work hard, to face real struggles. Or you could stand with a career con artist who's far more interested in himself than in you. I know where I'm standing, Philadelphia. I'm ready to turn the page, and I believe you're ready to turn the page too. So we've got some work to do. Let's leave it all on the field. Let's bring it home for Kamala Harris, for Tim Walz, and for Pennsylvania's great Senator Bob Casey. What a dream team. Together, they will fight for your future, for your freedom. Go to iwillvote.com and make a plan to vote today. Get your mail ballot in. Don't delay. If you plan to vote early in person, Philadelphia, tomorrow is the last day to vote early in person. Go to City Hall, like they said back here. I believe in all of you, and I believe in a brighter tomorrow. I believe that a change is gonna come, Philadelphia. And I believe we're gonna send Kamala Harris to the White House. I hope you're ready to fight for what you believe in. Are you ready to fight, Philadelphia? Like our future president says, when we fight, when we fight, when we fight, let's win, Philadelphia. One day, when the glory comes, it will be ours. It will be ours. Oh, one day. You want to start over? Let's start over. Let's start over. Make sure we're synced up. We're going to get it right. Here we go. One day, when the glory comes, it will be ours. It will be ours. Oh, one day, when the war is won, we will be sure. We will be sure. Oh, glory, glory, glory. Oh, glory, glory. Oh, glory, glory, glory. Oh, glory, glory. Now the war is not over. Victory isn't won. But we'll fight on to the finish. When it's all done, we'll cry glory, oh glory, 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 oh glory. We'll cry glory, oh glory, oh glory, glory. I wrote this song, Glory, with my friend Common. for a film called Selma. Selma celebrated the life and work of Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. and everybody who marched with him so we could finally have the right to vote in this country for everybody. Common called me up in the fall of 2014, and he said that the director of the film, Ava DuVernay, was looking for a song for the end credits of the film. And I was the first person they thought of. We wrote Glory, not only inspired by the story of the film, but by the protesters who were marching for justice in the streets of America in our present day. We won the Academy Award for Best Original Song in 2015. I'll never forget that night. We stood on the stage and we said, Selma is now, because we know the struggle for justice is far from over. We know there's backlash. We know there's resistance, but we'll keep fighting. And one day, when the glory comes, it will be ours. Oh, glory. Glory. Oh, glory. Glory. Oh, glory. Glory. Oh, glory. Glory. When the war is won, glory. When it's all said and done, glory. We'll cry, glory. Oh, glory. Oh. Thank you so much. God bless you. Have a great night. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Give it up for my band. They're all from Philadelphia. Make some noise for them.
You better think about what you're trying to do to me. Think, let your mind go, let yourself be free. Let's go back, let's go way on, way back when. I didn't even know you couldn't have been too much more than 10. Just child, I ain't no psychiatrist, I ain't no doctor with degrees. But it don't take too much time to see what you're doing to me. You better think about what you're trying to do to me, yeah. Think, let your mind go, let yourself be free. Oh, freedom, 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 freedom. Yeah, freedom, 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 oh, freedom. Hey, think about it. sing for me. Who won the world? Girls. 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 Who won this mother? Who won this mother? Who won this mother? Who won this mother?
Please welcome Tahita Smith.
Philly! What's going on, Philly? My name is Tahita Smith. I'm a regional organizing director in West Philly. But more importantly, I'm a Black woman from Philly, South Philly to be exact. Go Birds! Exactly. Listen, what I've learned from my years of grassroots organizing is that change comes when we make it. Listen, everybody knows about Philly people. When we fight, we do what? Exactly. So it's people like me and you and these crowds all around that make the difference. And we change the world. Everybody's here because they know Philly wins this election. We all know how high the stakes are in this election. And I'm going to be real with you. Now I'm talking to all of you. I'm going to be real with you. The huge volunteer effort to contact voters is how we win. We win this thing on the ground. We win this thing on the ground. Not on Zoom, not on social media. We win this thing on the ground. So when I'm out knocking on doors, I come across people that aren't registered to vote, don't want to vote, sat out an election or two, or just need a little extra push to get them to the polls. Because we still got a lot of people on the fence, y'all. I don't know how, but we still got a lot of people on the fence. And we have to make the difference in order to change whatever other outcome could be on November 5th. Because we only know it's only one outcome, right? It's only one outcome, right? So listen, I challenge you, better yet, I implore all of you to get involved. Get involved. But I like your ass. Between Vice President Harris, who's fighting to chart a new way forward, lower costs, and protect our freedoms, and the other cat, Donald Trump. Get him out, get him out. He's running on this extreme Project 25 nonsense and wants to raise costs by like $4,000 per person and ban abortion nationwide. Now, I don't know where all of you were in 2020, but I was at Temple University Hospital watching people die with COVID. That's where I was in 2020. And we ain't going back. We not going back. All right. I only got 2 minutes, y'all. It's only my 2-minute claim of fame. We got 8 days. 8 days to win this thing. I don't care what you're doing. Get involved. We do not want to wake up on November 6th and say shoulda, coulda, woulda, because we ain't gonna. We're going to get involved. We're going to get on the ground. It's plenty of volunteers in here. We got our Philly cousins who are organizers in the building. They will help you. They will get you signed up. They will get you shifted. We have so many things, the campaign has so many things lined up for the next 8 days. There's no way that we cannot get involved. Phone bank, knocking on doors, coming to an office, just get involved, find an office and get involved. So listen, I'm going to give you some more dates. All right, if you have a mail-in ballot, drop it. I don't know why you're still holding it. Drop that thing, okay? October 29th is the last day for early voting. That's tomorrow. And Tuesday, November 5th, get to the polls. We need all of you. We need everybody sitting here. You made your way here. You can make your way to a campaign office and get involved, okay? Be a Broad Street bully and go get involved on this campaign. Okay, with all that being said, it is now my incredible honor to introduce one of those Democrats who has been fighting for working families across Pennsylvania each and every day. Someone who is focused on leveling the playing field so we can all get ahead. And who has been a tireless champion for us in the United States Senate. And that's why we need to re-elect him this November. Please join me in welcoming Senator Bob Casey.
Thanks, everybody. Let's hear it for Tahita. I got one question for this crowd. Just want to think about this question for a second. Are you ready to win for Kamala Harris and Tim Walz? Are you ready to win this Senate race? Now, I know we got a lot of folks from Philly. How many people here from the city of Philadelphia? Now, I'm going to do this by geography from right to left. Bucks County, Montgomery County, Chester County, Delaware County. Anybody here from Scranton? We'll get to all the other counties later, but I want to thank you all for being here tonight. We want to thank President Obama for being here with us tonight. The president who made it possible for us to pass into law the Affordable Care Act, which brought health care to 1.4 million Pennsylvanians. And you all know what this race is about, both the presidential race, my race, and all the races for Congress. This is an election about working families. It's about an election to lower costs, to fight the fentanyl crisis, and to fight for women's rights, workers' rights, and voting rights. Now, I want to spend a couple minutes, sorry about this, I want to talk about my opponent for a couple minutes. You might know him. He's a former hedge fund CEO. He's got a little money. He's worth a couple $100 million. And while I was delivering for the people of Pennsylvania, delivering for our families, investing in our schools and our communities, he was running this hedge fund and delivering for China. That's what he was doing. He started this campaign lying about living in Pennsylvania. He was living in Connecticut. The Associated Press told us that. Not that I remember the date, but it was August 14th, 2023. Just read it, take a look at it. He didn't vote in Pennsylvania for 15 years. He even told stories about how he grew up. He said he came from nothing. At one point, he said he was a farmer, and he was a hedge fund CEO. So he doesn't understand our Commonwealth, and he doesn't understand the people of our state that make Pennsylvania what it is. So, while all of you were working with us on greedflation, going after big companies that are ripping off families on food and household items, price gouging, I introduced legislation to go after these big companies for gouging families. You know who opposed that bill? My opponent. He's wrong about that. We should go after those companies and hold them accountable. So, you know where he is. He's on the side of big corporations and billionaires. He's already promised them that he's going to vote for their tax cuts for those big companies and billionaires that I've already voted against. And I've told them if they try to increase taxes on working families to give a tax cut to billionaires and big corporations, I'm voting against them. You know, my opponent even wants to repeal the law that capped insulin at $35 a month, right? Boo, right. And that law also will put in place this January a cap on all out-of-pocket costs, drug costs for seniors. He opposes that bill. So all these big billionaires are coming into Pennsylvania, these out-of-state billionaires. They're paying for 80% of his ads, attacking me. Well, I got news for those billionaires. On election day, not only am I going to beat David McCormick, but we're going to beat those billionaires too. So I think it's pretty clear the people of our state can't trust my opponent to be for families, can't trust my opponent to stand up for seniors, and certainly can't trust my opponent to stand up for women's reproductive rights. You know what he said. You know what he said when Roe v. Wade was overturned. Here's what he said. He said that quote made him very, very happy. I don't believe our daughters should have fewer rights than their mothers or their grandmothers. Right? So we got some work to do. We've got to keep working like you all are. So many people here, every one of you is doing something already. You're here tonight. Some of you are knocking on doors. Most of you are writing postcards, making phone calls, contributing to this campaign and to Kamala Harris's campaign. So we got some work to do. And I know you've already done work, not just for days or weeks, but for months. But I have to ask you, are you ready to keep working these next 8 days to elect Kamala Harris and Tim Walz? I know you're ready, and I know you won't slow down. So I just want to do one more thing. I want to make an introduction. Let me start by saying, I think we can all agree that the last 25 years in America have been tough years for our country. A lot of tough days for American families and American workers. Just think about it. 2 economic downturns that led to terrible job loss just in the last 25 years. A pandemic that killed more than 1.1 million Americans. We've had a terrible rise in gun violence the last 25 years. So many families devastated by that loss of life. A fentanyl and an overdose crisis as well. Political divisions, threats to our democracy. So many challenges our families have faced. And in all these years, and long before that, we've had a recording artist who's helped us through these times. He happens to be with us tonight. For those watching on television, that was Bruce. They were saying Bruce. This recording artist has helped us through a lot of dark times. He's helped lift up our families at those times and during happier times. His songs are like a hymnal. They're like a prayer for our country. These songs that he has written and that we know so much about, these songs are full of gratitude and sometimes full of grief. They're songs full of celebration and reflections on the country we are and who we hope to be. Whether it was Thunder Road or Born to Run, or We Take Care of Our Own, whatever album or whatever song you've listened to, he's made an impression on all of us and our families. And when I think of We Take Care of Our Own, I think of how we do this as a Commonwealth and as a country. We take care of our children. We care about those kids. We take care of seniors. We take care of veterans. We take care of people with disabilities. We fight for our workers. That's taking care of our own, right? And one more thing. There's a line in that song, We Take Care of Our Own, when Bruce says, I've been looking for the map that leads me home. That map, he knows, and the reason he's here tonight, that map is the map of the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania. He's helping us get there. Bruce Springsteen!
Thank you, Senator Casey. Hello, Philadelphia. All right. On a rattlesnake speedway in the Utah desert, I pick up my money, head back into town, driving across the Waynesboro County line. I got the radio on, and I'm just killing time, working all day in my dad's garage, driving all night, chasing some mirage. Pretty soon, darling, I'm gonna take the shot. Well, the dogs on Main Street howl, 'cause they understand. If I could take this moment into my hands, mister, I ain't a boy, no, I'm a man, and I believe in a promised land. I've done my best now to live the right way. I get up every morning and go to work each day. But your eyes go blind and your blood runs cold. Sometimes I feel so weak, I just want to explode. Explode and tear this whole town apart. Take a knife and cut this pain from my heart. Find somebody itching for something to start. Well, the dogs on Main Street howl, 'cause they understand. If I could take this moment into my hands, mister, I ain't a boy, no, I'm a man, and I believe in a promised land. There's a dark cloud rising from the desert floor. I packed my bags and I'm headed straight into the storm. There's gonna be a twister to blow everything down that ain't got the faith to stand its ground. Blow away the dreams that tear dogs on Main Street howl, 'cause they understand. If I could take this moment into my hands, Mister, I ain't a poet, no, I'm a man. And I believe in a promised land, and I believe in a promised land. Thank you, Philly. I'm Bruce Springsteen, and I'm here today to support Kamala Harris and Tim Walz, and to oppose Donald Trump and J.D. Vance. Here's why. I want a president who reveres the Constitution, who does not threaten but wants to protect and guide our great democracy, who believes in the rule of law and the peaceful transfer of power, who will fight for women's rights, a woman's right to choose, and who wants to create a middle-class economy that will serve all our citizens. There's only one candidate in this election who holds those principles dear. That's Kamala Harris. She is running to be the 47th president of the United States. Donald Trump is running to be an American tyrant. Now, I understand folks having different opinions about things, but this election is about a group of folks who want to fundamentally undermine our American way of life. Donald Trump does not understand this country, its history, or what it means to be deeply American. That's why on November 5th, I'm casting my vote for Kamala Harris and Tim Walz. And I urge all of you who believe in the American way to join me. Thank you. This is Land of Hope and Dreams. Grab your ticket and your suitcase. Thunder's rolling down this track. Well, you don't know where you're going now, but you know you won't be back. Well, darling, if you're weary, lay your head upon my chest. Oh, we'll take what we can carry. Yeah, and we'll leave the rest. Well, big wheels roll through fields where sunlight streams. Oh, meet me in a land of hope and dreams. For you, oh, and I'll stand by your side, 'cause you'll need a good companion now, all for this part of the ride. Yeah, leave behind your sorrow, let this day be the last. Yeah, tomorrow there'll be sunshine, and all this darkness past. Big wheels roll through fields where sunlight streams. in a land of hope and dreams. Well, this train carries saints and sinners. Oh, this train carries losers and winners. This train carries hard gamblers. Oh, this train carries lost souls. I said now this train, dreams will not be thwarted on this train. Faith will be rewarded on this train. Hear the steel wheels singing on this train. Bells of freedom ringing. Well, big wheels roll through fields where sunlight streams. Oh, meet me in a land of hope and dreams. Oh, meet me in a land of hope and dreams. All right. We're going to do this for my brother John Legend. John does the most beautiful version of this song I have ever heard. So here's a little entertainment for you. Get up in the evening, I ain't got nothing to say. Come home in the morning, I go to bed feeling the same way. I ain't nothing but tired. Man, I'm just tired and bored with myself. Hey there, baby, I could use just a little help. Can't start a fire. You can't start a fire without a spark. This gun's for hire, even if we're dancing in the dark. Messages keep getting clearer. Radio's on and I'm moving around the place. Check my look in the mirror. Wanna change my clothes, my hair, my face. Man, I ain't getting nowhere. Oh, just living in a dump like this. There's something happening somewhere. I just know this. Can't start a fire. Can't start a fire without a spark. This gun's for hire. Even if we're dancing in the dark. Oh, sit around getting older. There's a joke here somewhere, and it's on me. Shake this world off my shoulders. Come on, baby, have a laugh on me. Stay on the streets of this town, and they'll be carving you up all right. Say you gotta stay hungry. Well, I'm just about starving tonight. I'm dying for some action. Sick of sitting around here trying to write this book. I need a love reaction. Come on now, baby, give me just one look. Can't start a fire. Can't start a fire. This comes for higher. Even if we're just dancing in the dark, you can't start a fire. Worrying about your little world falling apart. This gun's for higher. Even if we're just dancing in the dark. Hey, baby. Let's vote for Kamala Harris and Tim Walz. November 5th, I'll see you on higher ground. People, keep on learning. Soldiers, keep on warring. World, keep on turning. Doesn't wanna be too long. Powers, keep on lying. While your people keep on dying. World, keep on turning. Doesn't gonna be too long. I'm so darn glad and let me try it again. 'Cause the last time on earth I lived a whole world of sin. I'm so glad that I know more than I knew then. Gonna keep on trying till I reach my highest ground. Teachers, keep on teaching. Preachers, keep on preaching. World, keep on turning. Doesn't bother me too long. Oh no. Lovers, keep on loving. Believers, keep on believing. Sleepers, just stop sleeping.
Please welcome John Solomon.
Bring the beat in. Honey, honey, I can see the stars all the way.
How we doing tonight, Philly? Who believes that our best days are still to come? We deserve a president who would take us forward, not back.
And Philly, there's no question about it. That person is Kamala Harris. She spent her entire life fighting to help working people get ahead. Compare that to the other guy. Who has insulted us again and again and called our city egregious, corrupt, and so much more. The truth is, Trump doesn't care about us. He never has, and he never will. He only cares about himself. Just look at what his plans are. He wants to raise costs on families by nearly $4,000 a year. He rolled back even more of our hard-won freedoms with his Project Agenda 2025. Trump wants to divide us. But guess what, Philly? We are not going back. We are not going back. It's time to turn the page on Trump and his chaos and division. We've got just over a week. And as one of our great presidents taught us, we've got the power to make the kind of change we want to see in this country. You know, guys like me too often feel like our voices don't matter. But I stand here today as a little black kid from North Philadelphia who was given a second chance to say they do matter. They do matter. And when we use them, we can change the world. And that's exactly what we are going to do next Tuesday. Next Tuesday. Now, as I am so honored to introduce the man Pennsylvania helped elect in 2008, who filled this generation with hope, number 44, President Barack Obama.
Hello, Philly. It's good to be back. Are you fired up? Are you ready to go? All right. It is good to be back in Pennsylvania. Good to be back in Philadelphia.
Give it up for John and his outstanding introduction. Yeah, it's good to be back. Y'all in a good mood. The Eagles looked good yesterday. Something happened to my Bears we're not going to talk about. And it is good to be back with a couple of great friends. Give it up for John Legend and Bruce Springsteen. There's a reason why those guys are headliners. They are tough acts to follow. I was going to come up here and sing a little with them, but you know, you don't want to do this too often. You know, people might start taking me for granted. Despite how hard it is to follow them, I'm going to do my best because I am here for a very important reason. To ask you to vote for your next Auditor General, Malcolm Kenyatta. For your next Attorney General, Eugene DePascale. For your next State Treasurer, Aaron McClellan. For the Speaker of the Pennsylvania House, Joanna McClinton. And for my dear friend and your outstanding United States Senator, Mr. Bob Casey. And for the next President of the United States, Kamala Harris. Come on. Yeah. Now, you've heard this already, but it's worth repeating. If you plan to vote early in person, tomorrow is your last chance. Do it tomorrow. Do not dilly or dally. Get out there. Vote. If you've got a mail ballot, return it right now. You don't want to be waking up and looking down at, oh man, you don't want to be that person. You forgot. Don't wait. If you're going to vote on Election Day, November 5th, go to iwillvote.com and make a plan. Now let's face it, if you're here at this rally, you're probably going to vote. But I am preaching to the proverbial choir right here. But you've still got work to do because you need to talk to your friends and family so they have a plan to vote too. Because together we have a chance to choose a new generation of leadership in this country and start building a better and stronger and fairer and more hopeful America. Now, we know this election is going to be tight. It shouldn't be, but it will be, because a lot of Americans are still struggling. We have been through a lot over the last few years. A historic pandemic that wreaked havoc on communities and businesses. And then disruptions from the pandemic caused price hikes. And that put a strain on family budgets. And people started feeling like no matter how hard they worked, they were just treading water. So I get why people might want to shake things up. I understand that. What I cannot understand is why anyone would think that Donald Trump will shake things up in a way that is good for you. Because there is absolutely no evidence that this man thinks about anybody but himself. I said this before. Here's a man, a 78-year-old billionaire who has not stopped whining about his problems since he rode down that golden escalator 9 years ago. He's still tweeting all times of night, all caps. When he's not complaining, he's trying to sell you stuff. Trying to sell you gold sneakers. Trying to sell you a $100,000 watch. Says it's a Swiss watch. They can't find where in Switzerland it's actually made. But he wants to sell you a Trump Bible. Do not boo, vote. Remember that. I want everybody to understand, nobody can hear your boos, but they can hear your vote. So he wants you to buy the Word of God, Donald Trump edition. Got his name right there next to Matthew and Luke. Couldn't recite a verse, but he'll sell you that Bible. And guess where it's made? Made in China. You Mr. Tough Guy on China, except when you can make a few bucks. You cannot make this stuff up. If it was on Saturday Night Live, everybody would just say, well, no, that's exaggerated. It's not. He's doing it. And the reason he's doing it is because that's what he cares about. His ego, his money, his status. He is not thinking about you. Donald Trump sees power as nothing more than a means to his ends. He wants the middle class to pay the price for another huge tax cut that would mostly help him and his country club buddies. He doesn't care if he costs women their reproductive freedoms. It won't make a difference in his life. Most of all, Donald Trump wants us to think that this country is hopelessly divided between us and them. Between the, quote, real Americans who support him, of course, and the outsiders who don't. The enemies within. Because, what did I say about Boone? Vote. Because Donald Trump understands, and he's not wrong about this, that dividing people, making them angry, will boost his chances of being elected. It's not good for the country, but it might improve his odds. We saw it last night. I know nobody's going to boo now. All you're going to do is vote. Hold on a second. So the man holds this big rally at Madison Square Garden. And the warm-up speakers were saying we're trotting out and peddling the most racist, sexist, bigoted stereotypes. One guy called Puerto Rico, quote, an island of garbage. Now, these are fellow citizens he's talking about. Here in Philadelphia, they are your neighbors. They are your friends. They are your co-workers. Their kids go to school with your kids. These are Americans. They're people. And that is the reason why this election should not be close. It should be clear. Here's a good rule. If somebody does not respect you, if somebody does not see you as fellow citizens with equal claims to opportunity, to the pursuit of happiness, to the American dream, you should not vote for them. You should not expect them to make your life better. They will not help you make the they will not help you pay the bills. They're not gonna work hard to make sure your kid gets a good education. They're not gonna help you with a down payment on a house. I mean, we have to reject the kind of politics of division and hatred that we saw represented. America's ready to turn the page. America's ready for a better story. Philadelphia, we are ready for a president, Kamala Harris. And the good news is Kamala Harris is ready for the job. I mean, this is a leader who has spent her life fighting on behalf of people who need a voice and need a champion. Kamala wasn't born into privilege. She was raised in a middle-class family. Worked at McDonald's when she was in college to pay her expenses. She didn't just pretend to work at McDonald's when it was closed. She actually cares what people are going through. As the oldest child, she saw how the world would sometimes treat her mom. Single mother, 5-foot-tall brown woman with an accent. And she'd watch how her mom never lost her cool. She'd call Kamala and her baby sister over and say, "Don't complain about injustice. Do something about it." And that's what Kamala did. That's what Kamala did as a prosecutor, standing up for children who had been victims of sexual abuse, standing up as Attorney General of California, fighting the big banks and for-profit colleges, securing billions of dollars for people they had scammed. After the home mortgage crisis, Kamala pushed me and my administration hard to make sure that homeowners got a fair settlement. It did not matter that I was a Democrat. It didn't matter that she had knocked on doors for my campaign in Iowa. She was not going to let anything stop her from winning as much relief as possible for families who deserved it. That's who she is. That's what she stands for. You may not agree with every decision she makes. You didn't agree with every decision I made. You didn't. But you won't find somebody who you agree with on everything. Here's one thing you have to think about and that you can count on with Kamala. If you elect Kamala Harris, she will see you. She will hear you. She will have your back every single day. She knows what it's like to struggle and to work hard and to be on the outside looking in. And she'll have an outstanding partner in Governor Tim Walz. I love that dude. I mean, he's a veteran, he's a teacher, he's a coach. He's a marksman, a hunter, been a great governor. I found out a while back, he can even take a vintage truck apart and then put it back together again. Which made me wonder, do you think Donald Trump can do that? For that matter, do you think Donald Trump has ever changed a flat tire in his life? No. If he's got a flat tire, he calls over his chauffeur. Jeeves, change that tire. I don't know that his name is actually Jeeves, but it might be. Got a fake English accent? Jeeves. Hey, listen, the point is, if you elect Kamala and Tim, they won't be focused on their problems, they'll be focused on your problems. They actually understand that too many folks here in Pennsylvania and across the country are struggling to pay the bills. They know what it's like to struggle to pay the bills. Now, even though wages have been steadily growing, inflation is finally slowing. The price of everything from healthcare to housing to groceries, it's still too high for a lot of folks. And that hurts. The question is, who's actually going to do something about it? I knew you guys knew the answer, but that was a rhetorical question. But let me expand. So, on the economy, which all the polls show that's people's main concern, Donald Trump's main idea is to give another massive tax cut to billionaires and big corporations. Now, do not boo. No, that's the last time I'm going to say it. I know y'all got it now. Now, I have heard, because I'm talking to folks, and what I understand is some people are saying, well, I remember the economy when he first came in, that was pretty good. Yeah, it was good because it was my economy. Yes. I had spent the previous 8 years. I had spent the previous 8 years cleaning up the mess the Republicans had left me. Financial crisis, Great Recession, the auto industry flat on its back. And after those 8 years, I then handed over 75 straight months of job growth to Donald Trump. And all he did was give a tax cut to people who didn't need it, drove up the deficit in the process. Now he wants to do it all over again. So, all right, so that's on the economy. People have this weird pre-COVID memory as if somehow he did something. He didn't do nothing. The other thing that I hear is, well, Donald Trump sent me a check during the pandemic. Now, I want you to understand this. First of all, Congress sent you a check. Democrats and Republicans, in the midst of a crisis, passed a law so that people could absorb not working during COVID. And by the way, Joe Biden also sent you a check during the pandemic. Just like I gave people financial relief during the Great Recession, the difference is Joe Biden and I didn't put our names on the check because it wasn't about feeding our egos or advancing our politics. It was about helping people out during a tough time. So don't be fooled. I'm serious, because I've heard this a bunch of times. Well, I got a check. Don't be fooled into thinking that somehow that was something special. Do not fall for that okie doke. Do not be bamboozled. Don't be hoodwinked. And don't get fooled when he talks about health care either. If you ask Donald Trump, what's his idea to make health care more affordable, he's got one answer, which is, well, we're going to replace Obamacare, Affordable Care Act. He's not actually sure why it should be replaced, except for the fact that I did it. I have space in his head. But the challenge is that the challenge for him is that Obamacare is now popular. Almost 50 million people have gotten health care because of it that didn't have it before. So, a couple of weeks ago, his running mate on a debate stage had the nerve, had the chutzpah to say Donald Trump's, quote, salvaged the Affordable Care Act. That is not correct. Donald Trump spent his entire presidency trying to tear it down, and he couldn't even do that right. And now, 8 years after he was elected, when asked, well, if you get rid of Obamacare, how would you replace it? He said, well, I have concepts of a plan for how I would replace it. Concepts of a plan. I want you to think about this for a second. Let's say your boss gives you an assignment. Says, I need it by Friday. Friday rolls around. Boss comes. So, you finished that project I asked for? Scratch your head. You say, well, I haven't actually started. But I do have a concept of a plan for how I might do this project you asked me to do. Or you could try it at home. Honey, did you do the dishes? Throw out the trash? No, but I do have a concept of a plan to do the dishes. Right after this game's over. How's that going to go over? If it wouldn't work for you, why should it work for the President of the United States? It shouldn't. Which is why Kamala Harris doesn't have concepts of a plan. She's got actual plans to make your life better. Come on. Concepts of a plan. Kamala's has plans to go after corporations that unfairly jack up prices. She has plans to make it easier for you to build and buy a home. She's got plans to limit out-of-pocket health care costs. She's got a plan to give a tax cut to 100 million middle-class and working Americans. And if Congress passes a bill to restore the reproductive freedom that women had for nearly 50 years, the freedom that Donald Trump bragged about taking away, Kamala Harris will sign it into law. That's who Kamala Harris is. That's what she stands for, not concepts of a plan. Actual plans. Now, if you challenge Trump on his concepts, you say, well, those don't make sense. That's not well thought out. That's impractical. I don't understand that word salad you just issued. He will fall back on one answer. Blame immigrants. He wants you to believe that if you reelect him and let him round up whoever he wants, Ship them out, detain them. All your problems will be solved. Now, well, this has traction among a bunch of voters, so I want to talk about this for a second. I want everybody to understand this. We have a real issue at our borders. We are a nation of immigrants. But, so somewhere in your family, somebody came from somebody else. Right? It came from someplace else. We are a nation of immigrants. But we're also a nation of laws. And we have to make sure the system works the way it's supposed to, that it's orderly, that it's safe, that it's fair. But here's the thing I don't understand. If you are concerned about immigration, if you think it's a top problem, I want you to just ask yourself this simple question. Donald Trump, J.D. Vance, they're always talking about, well, Kamala's been vice president for 4 years. You know, so she has to take responsibility for all that, even though she wasn't actually president. Well, wasn't Donald Trump president for 4 years? Somehow that's conveniently forgotten. But I haven't forgotten. If rounding up and deporting millions of people, many of them women and children, if rounding up millions of desperate people is the answer to everything, why is it that the number of undocumented immigrants was basically the same when Trump left office as when he took office? Why didn't he solve this problem when he was in office? Well, I'll tell you why. Because he did not have a real plan. He had concepts of a plan. And it was a mean and ugly plan and an impractical plan. You know what would actually help bring order to the border and fix our immigration system? A bipartisan deal that Kamala Harris, as vice president, supported, even though it was written by one of the most conservative Republicans in Congress, and Congress was all set to go. And then Donald Trump called up the Republicans in Congress and said, well, you can't vote for that. Because he believed that it was better not to solve the problem so he could use the issue in the election. So he could engage in fear-mongering. Vote. We do not need a president who will make problems worse just to make his politics better. We need a president who actually cares about solving problems, not exploiting problems, about making your life better, not just making you angry and resentful. We need somebody like Kamala Harris who will be focused on doing the right thing, rolling up her sleeves, getting stuff done. And to help her do it, she's going to need a Senate full of public servants like Bob Casey. I have known Bob for almost 20 years. I know his wife. I have watched his gorgeous daughters grow up. Now he's a grandpa. Although his grandson, the little guy, wouldn't give me a fist bump in the photo line. He was feeling kind of shy. I was like, oh man, next time, just let me hang him. I can tell you this. I love this entire family, and I can tell you, there is nobody who is more humble, more honest, more rooted in his community, more dedicated to this great state than Bob Casey. All the guy cares about is doing the job and looking after the people he was elected to serve. And that's the kind of person we need to send back to Washington. We need public servants like that. He's the kind of person who's going to help Kamala get stuff done. Leaders who share our values and will move this country forward. Now, in these closing days, because remember, y'all are the choir here. But we need to reach the unconvinced. And when we talk to people, I think it is super important for us to be respectful and to listen, not just talk, and understand where folks are coming from, and recognize not everybody's going to have the exact same perspective as we do. But one thing that you will hear from a bunch of folks, including maybe some of your friends, family members, coworkers, is they don't believe politics can make a difference in their lives. You know, they just think politics is nasty and it's frustrating, and with so much crazy swirling around. I understand why people would just say, you know what, that's just not for me. It has no impact on me. Doesn't matter who's in charge. And that's why whenever I talk to people who are frustrated or disillusioned or cynical about politics, I don't try to sell them the moon. I'm honest with them. Politics is not going to solve all your problems. It won't. Whoever's in there as president, it's not going to change everything. It's not going to eliminate poverty. No matter how well-meaning a president might be, it's not going to get rid of all racism. You'll still get frustrated with your boss. Your kids, especially if they're teenagers, they'll still act up. People you love may still get sick. Politics is not a cure-all. But your vote matters because government, a president, a senator, they can make your life a little better or a little worse. And that little better adds up. And that little worse adds up too. So when I was president, we didn't solve all the problems with our healthcare system, but 50 million people who got healthcare who didn't have it, their lives were better. You know somebody who has healthcare because of that law. More than 50 million people with pre-existing conditions can no longer be denied coverage or charged more. That made a real difference to them. The Biden-Harris administration making insulin, capping it at 35 bucks. Making prescription drug prices cheaper. That helped somebody. It made their lives a little better. And that all that better adds up. Now the reverse is true. And I'm going to give you one more example. When I was president, we put together an entire playbook for how to deal with the pandemic. We had dealt already with H1N1 right at the first year of my term. We dealt with Ebola in my second term. And so we said, you know what? Scientists are telling us that eventually there's going to be a serious airborne pandemic. Let's put together a plan. And we gathered all the experts. We put together a playbook. We had all of our agencies come together. Let's practice the same way we do with natural disasters. If this happens, what are we going to do with schools? What are we going to do with coordinating with public health programs at the state level? How do we accelerate vaccination? Had all this all set up. And so I presented it just like I did those 75 straight months of job growth to Donald Trump. I said, here you go. And apparently that was dumped in the trash. 3 years later, a pandemic hits. Now, I want to be fair about this. No matter who was president, this pandemic was going to be a massive crisis. People were going to get sick. People were going to die. There were going to be businesses shut down, travel restrictions. I mean, this was a once in 100 years pandemic. But if you look at a country like Canada, their per capita death rate was 60% lower than the United States. Now, I want you to do the math. Over 1 million people died during the pandemic here in the United States from COVID. 60% of that number is 600,000 people. That's people's grandparents, parents, co-workers, friends. There are people in this auditorium who were affected by that. Some of those folks would be here if we had had a competent response. Not somebody who was suggesting injecting bleach, but somebody who was actually working in a serious fashion to make things better. So if somebody tells you this election doesn't matter, just remind them, please. It makes a difference when you've got a leader who sees you and cares about you and is serious and honest. It will affect your life. You may not see it right away, but it will. And if that's not enough, then also please remind them that any election is about more than just policies. It's also about values. It's also about character. Some of you know that when I was growing up, I didn't have a father in the house. But I did have people around me. Stepfather, grandparents, teachers, coaches, most of all my mom, who taught me the difference between right and wrong, who showed me what it meant to be honest and to be responsible and to work hard and to treat other people the way I wanted to be treated. And I did not always live up to those values when I was a teenager. I partied a little too much. But over time, I internalized them, and I tried to live up to them. And I suspect most of you grew up the same way. And one of the most disturbing things about this election and about Trump's rise in politics generally is how we seem to have set aside the values that we were taught. I mean, a few weeks ago, we had one of the deadliest hurricanes in American history. And while President Biden and Vice President Harris were in some of the communities that were affected, meeting with local officials, comforting families, Donald Trump and his running mate were out there circulating stories about how the Biden administration was withholding aid and giving it to undocumented immigrants and not giving it to Republican counties. Even Republicans on the ground said it was a bald-faced lie. And my question is, when did that become okay? No matter where you stand on the issues, why would you go along with that? If your co-workers acted like that, they would not be your co-workers for very long. If you had a family member who acted like that, you would still love them, but you would not trust or put them in charge of anything. And yet, time and again, when Donald Trump lies or cheats or shows utter disregard for our Constitution, when he calls service members who died in battle losers and suckers, when he calls fellow citizens vermin, people make excuses for it. And I see it. I mean, look, if you're a Christian and you care deeply about the abortion issue, I understand that, but does that mean you'll support somebody who seems to violate pretty much every precept of the Ten Commandments? If you are a service member and you're somewhat conservative and you're used to voting Republican, I can understand it, but somebody who genuinely does not believe in duty and honor and does not understand why anybody would would sacrifice themselves on behalf of their country. Why would you do that? If you're a Muslim American and you're upset about what's happening in the Middle East, why would you put your faith in somebody who passed a Muslim ban and repeatedly suggested that somehow you weren't part of our American community? If you're an African American or Latino, if you're from Puerto Rico and you see somebody whose values seem to indicate that you're not part of their equation, how do you think it's okay? How can you tell yourself it's okay as long as our side wins? And I've noticed this especially with some men who seem to think Trump's behavior is somehow a sign of strength. You know, sort of the macho, fake macho thing. And, you know, I'm here to tell you that's not what real strength is. It never has been. Real strength's about working hard. Real strength's about taking responsibility. Real strength is about telling the truth, even when it's inconvenient. Real strength is about being confident enough to treat everybody with dignity and respect. Real strength is about helping people who need it and standing up for those who can't always stand up for themselves. That is what we should want in our daughters and our sons, and that is what I want to see in the next president of the United States of America. And the good news is that you have candidates to vote for in this election who demonstrate that kind of character, who know what real strength looks like, who will set a good example and do the right thing and leave this country better than they found it. And Pennsylvania, that is the choice in this election. It's not just policies that are on the ballot, it's who we are and what we stand for. So whether this election is making you feel excited or scared or hopeful or frustrated or anything in between, do not sit back. Don't just hope for the best. Get off your couch and vote. Put down your phone and vote. Vote for Kamala Harris as the next president. Vote for Tim Walz as the next vice president. Vote for Bob Casey and this whole incredible Pennsylvania Democratic ticket. Help your family and friends and neighbors and co-workers go to the polls. If enough of us make our voices heard, we will leave no doubt about the outcome of this election. We will leave no doubt about who we are and what America stands for. And together we will keep building a country that is more fair and more just and more equal and more free. That is our task. That is our responsibility. Let's go do the work. Thank you, Philadelphia. Thank you, Pennsylvania. Let's go vote.
And there's rolling down this track. Well, you don't know where you're going now, but you know you won't be back. Well, darling, if you're weary, lay your head upon my chest. We'll take what we can carry, yeah, and we'll leave the rest. Well, big wheels roll through fields where sunlight streams. Meet me in a land of raise lost souls. I said this train, dreams will not be thwarted. This train, faith will be rewarded. This train, you still will sing. This train, bells of freedom ring. Heaven knocking on the door that holds the throne. Heaven looking for the map that leads me home. I've been stumbling on good hearts turning to stone. The road of good intentions is gone dry as a bone. We take care of our own. We take care of our own. Wherever this flag's flown, we take care of our own. From Chicago to New Orleans, from the muscle to the bone. From the shotgun shack to the Superdome. From the hill, the Calvary stayed home. There ain't no one